I was supposed to play Danny Rand, and I was supposed to do it back when I was 25, 26, and 3-picture deal, and it was like the big movie, X-Men was coming out, and I was like, yeah, this is great, before Spider-Man came out, and it just never happened. We had Kurt Wong on to direct, so we're looking at Beyonce to play Misty Knight. I always said about Michael Jai White to be Luke Cage, you know, even The Rock, and that's one of my pet little things that I want to do. So if anything like a Danny Rand, an Iron Fist, I'd like to do. But I've also got about 10 movie ideas that I've written down. Some are horror, some are really psychotic, and then the rest are comedy action that I've written synopsis for. I'm not a writer, but I have ideas, and one day I'm going to make my own films. I'm gonna have my own team of stunt guys and people around me, and I'm going to make it.
I think we'd like to see that.
I hope so, because I've been waiting for the right role to be asked. You know, there's been movies in the past that I go, I could have done that. Why didn't they ask me? So there's been a little like, okay, why didn't I get asked for that? But now I've realized that, you know, I've got some really great parts under my belt, but I'm going to create my destiny, and it's a wait, you can do it. And so I'm waiting for my time, you know, and I'm gonna make it happen.
Go for it. Him,
Ladies
then
first.
you.
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
After Heroes, do you think of any other TV shows you would like to do?
Heroes was fun. That was a lot of fun to do. Actually, there's an idea that my buddy came up with. The trailer's online right now. No Rest for the Wicked. Myself and Zach Levi did, and it was a little short movie. It's on YouTube. It's under No Rest for the Wicked, and it's based on Ryan's characters that he came up, and based on a comic book that he designed. And I'd like to do that. And we toyed with the idea of maybe making that into a weekly adventure with these two characters. I'm this SAS commando special forces that's been demoted to being a Queen's Guard, so I've got to stand there with a sheepskin, you know, thing, and be still all day. And then by night, I'm this like thief. But I'm a thief because there's a curse put upon us. There's a little bit of, you know, sci-fi element to it. And so we did that, and we're getting a lot of buzz about that at the moment. So that would either be a TV show or a movie. But there's been other things out there where I've gone, oh, I would have liked to have done that. You know, so, but to be honest with you, I've stopped watching TV recently, and for the last 4 months, we've cancelled our cable and satellite, and I don't watch any TV. The TV's never on, just purely because there's a lot of rubbish commercials on there, and I don't want my kids watching. Like, when I find my children looking at things for women's pill, or they're staring at something for no reason, I don't want my kids brainwashed because someone said they can be paid to put that on TV. So we cancel TV and we just watch what we want to watch. So I don't get to watch things by accident anymore. You know, like you come on and go, oh, what's this? We don't do that anymore. So there's no, it's either go online and go, what do you want to watch? You want to watch Hannah Montana? Okay, 1 episode. So we don't, because you're paying so much money for rubbish, you know? Commercials I'm talking about. But if I was in advertising, those would be the things I'd be trying to sell. But yeah, just the in-between things I don't like. I want to watch a TV program and enjoy it. So yeah, that's a good question.
We know you're a big Bruce Lee fan, but other than his movies, do you have a favorite kung fu movie? And is there a current martial arts action film like a Jackie Chan or Donnie Yen that you would like to work with?
Yeah, Donnie Yen I would love to work with. I mean, I think Donnie Yen over Jackie Chan, I would like to. When I was younger, it was Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan was the reason why I wanted to get into films. Bruce Lee inspired me to, you know, his strength and the way he was in movies, and he was always the underdog and certain movies, but he always stood up for people and stood up for what was right. And so Bruce Lee, I had Bruce Lee posters on my bedroom. I just loved the way Bruce Lee was. And then when Jackie Chan came along, I loved the old school Jackie Chan movies, and then when you get to find out more that Jackie likes to bring people on who are great and talented to his team, I wanted to be one of those guys who was talented on his team. And then I heard about the Australian stunt guy, I've forgotten his name, he's really super duper good, and he was like the first Western guy to be on Jackie Chan's stunt team, and then I knew there was hope for me to do it. I could get on there because Richard Norton and Cynthia Rothrock and Keith Cook, who I've got to work with, So I knew I can do it. Other martial arts guys did it, I can do it. So when I was about 13, 14, I made the choice, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And I just split up with a girlfriend, believe it or not, at 14, and it was the best thing that ever happened because I trained every day. And all I did was train and practice to be the best I could be to work with Jackie. And my goal was, when I'm 21, I'm gonna go to Hong Kong. I'm gonna spend 5 years there. I'm gonna learn how to do wire work, stunt work, camera, direct, then come to Hollywood. And then, because at the time, I knew there was a gap in action movies, in Hollywood action movies. It was like, and now with Matrix and Star Wars, I feel lucky that I got to do a butterfly twist for Star Wars because no one ever did that in Hollywood movies. And then Matrix came out and it just opened up a whole new world. And we started to see things that were already done 20 years ago in Asian movies. So for me, I felt lucky to sort of be part of that. And so yeah, I wouldn't say no to working with Jackie Chan. I would love to work with Jackie Chan. But Donnie Yen I really like. There's something about Donnie Yen's style and what he's done and just the way he is, you know. And there's a lot of great martial art guys out there. Jet Li, of course, inspired me, you know. And to this day, I'll still go back and watch a Bruce Lee movie and go, yeah, that's, you know. And what's great about the Bruce Lee movies, the stories were based on the style of Kung Fu I do, by Fu Yen Ga, the Ching Wu style. And I just did that by accident. I didn't go, I'm going to do Ching Wu today. It was a Kung Fu style that my teacher taught, and I saw it advertised in a church hall, and I've been studying it. So when these movies came out, I'm going, wait a minute, isn't that the same as us? You know, so it reinforced things for me and made me proud of doing what I'm doing. They had both within the style, but it was Northern Shaolin Kung Fu is what my teacher taught me in England, and he was Chinese Malay. But within that style, he was also, he represented Malaysia for the Taekwondo team. So he did traditional Kung Fu when he was a kid, and then when he was 14, he wanted to do something tough and something he could defend himself with. Because in Malaysia and China, like the traditional, well, Malaysia, the Kung Fu is taught as more of a health, you know. Every granny and grandma's there, and they're all going through the moves. It's a Sunday morning gathering, you know. But there's thousands of people doing it, and I fell in love with that spirit of martial art. And then, so we were doing the Taekwondo kicks and sparring without me realizing it, because before internet or you know, in magazines they didn't really talk about it. So I was lucky to have traditional Kung Fu with the flashy legs. And then when I was 14, I got into Wushu. And then I found out that Wushu was part of the syllabus of Ching Wu. You know, like you had the traditional forms, and then the young ones you were going to do the Wushu side. So I would practice both. And of course, I love boxing. You know, to this day, most of my training is boxing, circuit training. I love hitting the bag, and I always relate it to movies. I'll have 3 or 4 bags hung up, and I'll have different opponents. Like if you've ever watched the old Kung Fu movies where the disciple has to go into the secret training, and the chamber, and things will pop out, and you have to block, and that's what I do in my training every day. You know. In a way, I'm always setting things up for challenges. Like I'll have 2 like heavy bag, and then a cannonball, and then I have a double end bag, and then I have some bungees here, so I have to boom, boom, punch, and then move here, so I'm getting hit. So I'm always trying to keep. It's not the it's dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
There's no darts.
Yeah, not yet, but like maybe if you know my kids. If they found my darts or ninja stars, they'd be. If I said, "Throw that at Daddy," but don't try to throw it, just pretend to throw it, they'll throw it and hit me. So I remember on Heroes, they sort of go. So Northern Shaolin Kung Fu is what I do, because everyone thinks I practice many styles, but I don't. My dad, when I got my black belt when I was 14, he goes, "Right, son, now it's time to go off and do other styles." And I remember putting a black belt on, and I go, okay, magic's going to happen now. I'm going to be like my teacher. Now I have this black belt on, yes. So I turned up to class, kicked, still the same. Everything was still the same. I jumped up, still the same. And I remember looking in the mirror and looking at myself and looking down at the black belt and going, okay, this is not what I expected. And then things got a little harder. And I was like, this is where the learning begins. And I realized that this is the beginning of my learning. The build up to getting a black belt was just the training so you can be ready to start learning. And it was a good lesson for me. And I trained even harder, and it was, I was very lucky. From when I was 15, I represented Great Britain in the Wushu team, and I picked up Wushu very quickly, but it was still hard. My passion for Wushu was very strong, and martial arts. And so I continued with that throughout my life. And then on the side, as part of my own training, I would kickbox. And when I say kickbox, I would just get take the essence of Thai boxing, kickboxing, Rocky Balboa training, if you put the theme of Rocky on, I can actually show you the shadow boxing in beat, and I can actually do the whole thing, and I'm sure most of you have, doom, 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 Believe me, I do that. It's as cheesy as it sounds. When my buddy comes over, we're old school, we'll put Rocky on, the first tune on, and we're like, ready? And we'll warm up. I'll crank up the sounds in my garage, and I'm like, yeah, come on, let's do this. Because I don't want to forget where I started, because where all the dreams and the passion started is when I was a little kid, and imagining one day I can fly, one day I can run up the wall. And because of those dreams, I'm getting to live it out now. And so I'm able to grasp other styles and pick up. And I've always been in love with katana, like samurai and ninja. But in the Chinese martial arts, we never did it. But on the side, I did. Without my teacher knowing, I would practice, and then watch and play video games, and then go, wow, that looks really cool. And then copy the moves I would see on video games, because sometimes the video game moves were better than what you saw in films. And where was I? What was the other thing I was going on about?
Oh, you lost me, man.
That was
I was just having fun listening to you talk about shadow boxing.
Yeah. No, there was a reason I was trying.
And I'm trying to ignore the sign in the back that says time's up. I don't see you there, buddy.
I'll tell you another story, right? I'll tell you a story. I'm on set. No, we're rehearsing right now. All right, so I'm doing my fight scenes. And I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes with Ewan talking about everyone made their own lightsaber noises. We go, well, I do it regardless. I make sound effects when I'm fighting. So if we're learning it, and I'll go, pa, poo, poo, cha, cha, hua, pa, pa, poo, chua, pa, pa, hua, right? And I'm not just doing this to entertainment, but normally I go, pua, cha, cha, pua, oh, cha, ha, poo, right. And then before this little film, this was on Thursday we filmed this, just to see, and then everyone's laughing. They're laughing because I'm like, yeah, ooh. And they're like, Ray, you're just so funny because I'm making the sound effects, but I just can't help it.